Marcos lang, sa tingin kong meron.
Dream job if you were not in politics?
Easy. Astronaut. When my father went to the States for 1968 for his state visit, I was asked by Congress Senator Inouye of Hawaii, when it was our first stop was Hawaii. And he says, "What would you like to do?" And I said, "I want to go to NASA." So they flew me to Florida.
What?
When my dad was in Washington, they put me on a plane and flew me to Florida.
So nuts.
And I saw all of these things that I was just like, you cannot imagine. So so you go up in space. That's been my dream.
This is ground control to Major Tom. You really made the grade. And the papers.
Mr. Marcos, we are going to play a game today.
Okay.
Very fun and very simple. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to mention certain things, names, situations, etc., and you're going to tell me the first thing comes to your mind.
Okay.
So we'll do this rapid fire, not pre-planned, completely organic. Yes?
Okay.
All right, let's do this.
Get into trouble this way.
Yeah, we might. I hope so. Makausap.
Popular,
Thinking Pinoy.
smart,
SAS programmer.
also
Darwin Duniente.
influential,
Mike Lopez.
lovely person.
Pinoy Ako Blog.
What? There's a blog?
Boxers or briefs?
Seriously? Boxers.
Why are you always wearing pink?
Because of my coloring. It suits my coloring, and I believe that real men wear pink.
The School of Oxford.
One of the great learning institutions in the world. It really is different. It really is a different place where academics are really the only single important aspect of your life while you are there. The Brits tend to have a bit of a class consciousness that disappears when you're in Oxford. Who's the smartest? Who gets the best grades? Who has the and it's all and you can see people sitting having a sandwich and they're talking about some great philosophical. You can sit in the coffee shop where John Stuart Mills wrote, where he wrote his book on utilitarianism.
Bananas, chills.
Yeah, it's right outside. So that's the atmosphere, and that really encourages. It makes it very conducive to this kind of deep thinking. I had one of the greatest experiences I had was one summer in Oxford. We were sitting around in one of the greens, and we were talking amongst each other, drinking a little wine, and some visitor came up and said, "Look at you students. You just sit there. You spend your parents' money and you're not doing anything." And you know what? The professor was walking by and he says, "Sir, you must allow them to do nothing, because that is the only time, this is the last time in their lives that they be allowed to do nothing but think." And that defined the place for me. Mag-isip ka. And I always say, Oxford taught me how to think. And I still believe that.
Fantastic. Paulo Duterte.
He has been going through a bit of a rough time recently. I'm sure he'll be okay.
Sarah Duterte.
Sarah's a lot like her dad.
Yep.
Sarah's a lot like her dad. I see very many similarities between her and her dad. So she clearly sat at his feet and learned from Licong.
Bastet Duterte.
I don't know Bastet very well.
I know.
I've met him. He's cool.
Super
Cool guy.
Super.
Actually, the Dutertes are cool because they're just, because of the dad. I don't think they're allowed to become mayabang. They're allowed to be because of the dad. The dad just won't put up with.
Winston Churchill.
Phew, what a heavyweight, political visionary, I suppose, in many ways, and a writer and a speech maker of absolutely no equal. No equal. And I've read everything he's written.
Hi, Judy.
I
Hi,
have
Tony.
read all the speeches he's ever
Hi,
made.
Lexi. Hi, Junior.
You just look at his history about especially during the war, but you look at it even beforehand. By the time he was like 22, 23 years old, he had seen more war than most soldiers, and it translated into his understanding. He was the one who coined the term the Iron Curtain. He was the one who first started warning the West about communism during the war. So he had a very deep understanding of the world, and he had a very deep understanding of geopolitics. It wasn't called that then, but I guess the foreign policy and the great powers of the world and how they interacted all through history.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Well, he's another visionary. He just came up with an idea that we just never thought about. He's like all those tech giants who understood the tech so well that they put it to use in ways that we did not foresee or did not imagine ourselves, and that's where his genius comes from.
Hollywood or Broadway?
Hollywood. Some of the most. Only because I was raised in serious theater and not so much in musicals. And Hollywood has some of the most creative, most talented, the most brilliant, the stuff they come up with sometimes.
Bill Gates or Steve Jobs?
Steve Jobs, Steve Jobs.
Favorite beach in the Philippines?
It used to be Boracay.
Same.
It still is the most beautiful beach I have ever seen in the whole world. I mean, up to now, just take away the green algae. But it's still the most beautiful. You would walk down to about Station 4, and then you look down the beach and like, whoa, this belongs to us. This is our country. Look at this. It's still the most for me. It's not my favorite now because it has all the problems that it had. So my favorite beach right now would be up in Ilocos, the beach in front of my house.
You get to take us.
Yeah, why not?
Favorite road trip?
The favorite road trip I ever took was a very, very long one, which started in Rome, drove up to Milan, went across the south of France, drove up all the way to Paris, and ended up in London.
How long that's it?
Took me about 10 days.
Okay, wow.
And stopping just about everywhere, and it was great fun.
Sandro Marcos.
Oh, Sandro. Well, we're very proud of our Sandro. I mean, like any parent and child, there were some iffy moments. When he was a teenager, what's going to happen to this kid? He doesn't seem to be getting it. Well, he got it. He's fine. He's doing very well. He's working in London. After his master's degree, and I think he'll do well. I mean, he's buckled down and he's become not necessarily serious. I wouldn't use the word serious, but he's become he understands what he needs to do. But he said a remarkable thing actually, because we told him, where do you want to go, and we can ask. I'm sure we can ask some of our friends to take you on. And he went away and thought about it, and he came back and said, I think I'll work abroad for a while. Yeah. Said, because I don't want to work in a place where my name means something.
That's wonderful.
So he wanted to make it on his own. And I'm beginning to get that same sentiment from my second son, Simon.
I was just about to ask you.
Yeah.
So Simon Marcos.
Simon is sort of the same also. He's now in China, and he's working there. And he's saying, everybody wants to meet me because I'm your son, and I'm a Marcos, and like that. And I said, well, that's their way of showing their appreciation for what your grandfather did. But don't. They said, but I don't want to be treated that way. I want to just work to learn things. And I said, you get there. Don't worry. Once they get over the excitement, you get. So I'm very, very proud of them for having come up with that idea.
And Vinny Marcos,
Vinny,
boy charmer.
my coder. Yeah, I'm still waiting for his $1 billion app so I can retire.
So
I can retire. Live off my children.
Yeah, that kid has a really special type of charisma, where he's what's the word? He's effortlessly charming. It's not common. It's not common.
No, it's not. when people one of the things people always remark upon is with little children. They can leave their little children with Vinny, and the kids will be happy, and they love him. They look for him, and they, where's Vincent? We want to see him again. And they thank me. And they say, thanks to your Vinny. He's so matyaga. He's so patient. I said, you don't understand. He's not making tiyaga. He's not being patient. He likes being there. He likes being with your children. He enjoys the time that he spends there. It's not something that he feels he has to do. It's something that he just likes doing. He wants to do. He's that kind of guy.
World's greatest quote.
One of the best quotes that I have is nice and simple, nice and it's Winston Churchill.
Okay.
When you're going through hell, keep going.
That's a great quote.
That's typical Winnie.
I heard that from you the first time. Also, who's your hero, not related to your family, and why?
Nelson Mandela. Because the depth of his forgiveness was
Oh, yun. Yes.
astounding. I mean, for him
That's
to
the
be
reason
able,
why
his
he
policy
always
after he came out
forgives.
of jail, when he continued his fight for apartheid, was just forgive. Let's not forget, but let's forgive. Let's forgive. He
That's
forgave everyone for all the things that they did,
He
all the
learned
wrongs that they
something.
did, and he allowed them an opportunity
Going
to
back
say
to
sorry,
his-
so that everybody
Wow.
else could forgive. Wow. I mean, wow.
I can sense that you've sort of lived your life that way too.
I've tried that. I've tried because it works. It turns out it works.
Totoo yan. Yung sinabi niyang favorite quote niya, at saka yung hero niya, who forgives. Hindi siya nagtatanim ng galit. Kaya, ganyan siya kahusay. Ganyan ang malinaw ang pag-iisip niya kasi walang galit sa kanyang puso. Hindi katulad ng iba dyan na galit ang pinaiiral nila. Kaya importanteng balikan natin ang dating mga vlogs niya. Makikita natin ang totoong personalidad ni ang ating Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. So, kung bakit hindi siya gumaganti, ngayon nalaman natin, kailangan nating magpatawad. Kailangan natin mag-unawa. Pagpanatiliin ang galit sa ating puso kasi hindi po magiging malinaw ang ating mga desisyon. Ganyan po ang ating presidente. Kaya importanteng babalik-balikan natin ang mga vlogs niya bago siya naging presidente. Kaya ko naisip po ito.
Most important life lesson.
Humility.
What would you tell your 30-year-old self?
Be humble. Be humble.
Be humble, yeah.
Imelda Marcos.
Oh, the force of nature. She really is. She really is a force of nature. The older I get, the more I appreciate her. You have to have achieved a certain depth in your understanding of the world and of people to appreciate her. If you're young and immature, you think she's kind of this lady's kind of off, you know. But the more you yourself understand life, the more you appreciate her. It's happened. It's happened to me all my life, and it keeps happening to me as I even now as I grow older. I still see. Oh, I get it now. I didn't get because I was dumb and I was stupid and I was immature. Now I understand what she was talking about. You know, there's I paraphrase. There's a quotation from Mark Twain, which I think applies here. It says, "When I was 19 years old, I could not believe how stupid and how dumb my parents were. By the time I was 23, it was remarkable how much they had learned." And that's exactly what happened to me. Is that I don't get my mom. There was a time I don't understand what she's talking about, why she's doing the things she's doing. And then as I grew older, oh, I get it. Because now I've experienced something that shows me that that's correct. And what you were thinking before was unformed and incomplete.
Ferdinand Marcos.
Uh, Ahead of his time, just way ahead of his time.
Um, what can you say to the Marcos detractors in 2018? Not before, today.
Depends what they if they're criticizing me, then sure, I take it. That's not a problem. I'll answer as best as I can. We will I may end up changing your mind. I may not. But if it's the detractors of my father and there's some what you call detractors that don't like him for no real reason, only because the propaganda and all of this, and they've been, I suppose, led to believe certain things. Is look at the facts, look at the history, look what actually happened. Don't listen to what I've said it many times before. There are objective tests to performance in as president. Look at those and start with those. Then we can go on to the all the other things, and we can discuss the less quantifiable pluses or minuses in terms of, let's say, political ideology, things like that. But in terms of actual performance, I think you just can't find anyone who did as well.
And finally, the Marcos loyalists who have been there for decades, as well as all the new Marcos supporters we recently obtained.
Well, they, I still, I feel so blessed that there are such people. And we were talking recently about the loyalists or supporters who had camped outside the Supreme Court in waiting for the recount to start. And I kept thinking to myself, these are wonderful people, and how do I actually express properly how grateful I am to them,
Yeah.
and how to actually so they understand how thankful I am for them being there. You know, sometimes in situations you really can't depend on anyone else to help yourself. You can only do it yourself. But a friendly face is always welcome, and they provide hundreds and thousands of those friendly faces. Tabing dagat kasi yung lugar nila. At nawalan sila talaga, naubos lahat. Kung makita ninyo yung ground zero na tinatawag,
Grabe
talagang
ang-
ubos, sunog lahat. Walang natira. Kahit na isang kapira-piraso na kahoy, wala, sunog lahat. This week started off with the barangay elections. On the weekend, on Saturday, I went to Ilocos and with the intention of voting on the Monday for the barangay elections, which is what we went and did. The entire family, I voted in Batat. My wife voted in Lawag. After I voted in the morning, I went back in the when the closing at 3 o'clock and the closing of the poll to watch the counting. And the reason I did that is because there has been a lot of talk and discussion about how we need to improve our electoral system. And one of the proposals has been to choose what they call a hybrid system, where you have manual voting, manual counting, but electronic transmittal. The counting in the barangay elections constitute a manual voting and counting system. And so I went to look, and what I did is just did the basic research on how long it takes. It turns out it takes 40 to 50 seconds per ballot. It takes about 3 hours for maybe 600 ballots to be counted. At least that is for the barangay, because we're talking only about one barangay captain, and we're talking about 7 kagawads. But in a national election, of course, that would be much longer. But in any case, it was just to see what the flow was, and I learned a great deal. It's been a long time since I watched the barangay election counting, and I was happy I was able to do that. The reason that we give such emphasis is that my great belief in how important local government is in the provision of services by government to the people. Minsan iniisip natin yung importante lang yung presidente, yung mga senador, vice president, yung mga matataas na opisyal. Pero ang katotohanan yan, napakahalaga ng trabaho ng ginagawa ng mga barangay officials ng local government. Kaya talagang gusto naming idiin at ipaalala sa lahat ng ating mga kaibigan na dapat talagang seryosohin natin yung ganyang klaseng halalan.
Mahigit 300 bahay sa Catbalogan, Samar nasunog. Mabilis na kumalat ang apoy sa mga bahay. Inaalam pa ang pinagmulan ng sunog. Wala namang napaulat na nasaktan sa insidente.
Well, I regularly have a medical mission around the country, especially those places that have been hit by some kind of disaster or calamity. And we went this time to Catbalogan because we heard about the big fire.
Higit sa 300 kabahayan ng barangay sa Catbalogan City, Samar ang natupok ng apoy kaninang madaling araw. Ayon sa PNP Catbalogan, bandang alas 5:50 ng madaling araw ay nakatanggap sila ng tawag mula sa isang concerned citizen na may nagaganap na sunog sa Del Rosario Street, barangay 6, Catbalogan City. Batay sa ginawa nilang paunang investigasyon, mga alas 2:40 ng madaling araw, nagsimula ang sunog at ito ay mabilis na kumalat ang apoy dahil na rin sa ang karamihan na yari sa light materials. Tinupok nito ang humigit sa 300 kabahayan na ang ilan dito ay gawa sa concrete materials.
Nagkasunog sila doon sa poblasyon mismo, sa tabi ng palengke, ng fish market nila. Nawalan sila talaga, naubos lahat. Kung makita ninyo yung ground zero na tinatawag, talagang ubos, sunog lahat. Walang natira, kahit na isang kapira-piraso na kahoy, wala, sunog lahat. So they have to start from scratch.
Hi, good morning po. Good morning. I-refill muna. Refill muna lahat. Hindi mabilis.
At na-displace ang mga 216 na families. Kaya sabi ko, palagi, tiga doon naman kami, waray-waray din kami. So dapat naman tumulong kami doon sa mga nangangailangan.
Wag na, delikado. Dito lang.
Medyo malaki. Opo.
Hi, Jeff.
Hindi pa siya presidente, ha? Tumutulong siya. Oh.
So we coordinated with the local officials. And I have to say, again, it just highlighted the importance because the local officials, I have to say, in Catbalogan and in Samar did a very, very good job of taking care of their
Sa video dyan, yung walang sound, yung video walang sound talaga.
Doon sila nagtitinda noon, wala na, nasunog na nga lahat. So linipat sila doon sa palengke, which I was reminded, project ko pala yung isang bahagi doon. Ako palang nakapagbigay ng pondo para itayo. Buti na lang at nagawa natin yan dahil nagamit. So, mukha namang maayos.
Talo siya sa election yan. Pero still, tumutulong siya. Hindi lang na-news noon. Pero tumutulong siya talaga. Maski hindi siya nanalo sa 2016 election. Yeah. May problema sa video niya, walang sound. Kaya nga importante, ini-stress ko, importante balikan ng
medical
ang
mission.
vlogs niya.
Nakapagbigay kami ng konting, kasi na iba nga ito, hindi lang medical mission, nagdala kami ng konting relief goods. At bukod pa ron, nagdala pa ako ng school supplies kasi sabi, iniisip ko yung mga bata, siyempre doon sila nakatira, nasunog lahat ng gamit nila. So para matuloy naman ang kanilang pag-aaral, nagdala kami ng konting school supplies para hindi pa sila bibili ng bago at matuloy na ang kanilang schooling.
So hindi lang pang-eleksyon. Tapos na yung election niyan eh.
Dito at tumutulong, nagbibigay iba-iba yung mga civil groups. Itong pagpunta sa Catbalogan ang tumulong sa amin makakuha ng gamot were the Chinese Federation na sila laging nandun.
Mo? Kaya naging popular siya.
Kaya I'm very happy na makabalik sa inyo, makita kayo ulit. At mabuti naman at ma-report ko na ang probinsya at saka ang city ay alagang-alaga naman ang mga naging biktima ng sunog. Kaya ito ang aming konting tulong at sana naman ay nakapagdala kami ng kaunting ginhawa. At hindi lang selfie, kundi gamot at saka konting relief food. So, good luck po sa inyo lahat. At patuloy po tayo na tumutulong at patuloy po tayo na magdadala na kahit na anong maitulong sa inyo.
I hope na yung dala namin kahit kaunting tulong lamang kahit papano makapagdala ng ginhawa sa ating mga naghihirap. So pinag-usapan namin paano yung rehabilitation, paano yung reconstruction. In the meantime, habang tinatayo pa yung mga bago nilang facilities, ay kailangan natin mag-isip ng kung paano sila mabigyan ng hanap buhay, livelihood, ng kahit papano na makaraos naman sila dito sa krisis. It was good to see that local government and government at work, maganda naman ang suporta nila. That's why this is so important because kapag ganyan na may krisis, kapag ganyan may nakalamidad, ang inaasahan mo talaga ay yung mga local government officials dahil sila talagang first responder.
Hindi pa siya presidente niyan, ha?
Together, I think that we made some progress and we're looking forward to helping in the future to rehabilitate not only the physical the physical structures but also their lives.
Aba, tinatasama ba niya si Lering? Sinabi niya? Ay, Ludi Pamilar, Elsar Kengkoy, welcome.
I started the week by going to the Supreme Court on Monday to be able to file my comment on the motion for reconsideration that was filed by my opponents on the 25%, 50% shading. It is sad to know that this week we take cognizance of the 100th week since the June 30 filing.
Because if I am to give you advice, it is to find some work that after you have attended to the duty as a family member, as a productive human being in society, then it is time to move on and find a way to work outside yourself for something that is no benefit to you, but a benefit to others. Something that is bigger than you, that is more important than you, one single person. And only then will you know, when you will understand the truth and satisfaction of work. Only then will you begin to see the true inspiration that can be found in work that is for somebody else, for something else, for a cause that is.
Tingnan yung hirap niya sa pag-build up ng kanyang support. Tapos sisirain lang natin yung hirap niya dahil sa galit natin sa mga taong hindi natin gusto. Ang hirap-hirap talagang ginagawa na noon para ma-build ang coalition.
Bigger than you.
Hindi ka profesor sa isang eskwelahan na sinasabi, kunwari, 10,000 per ganun-ganun. Neda ka eh. Kailangan lahat ng kalkulasyon is based on true and actual accurate data. Madali naman kalkulahin yan eh. Meron sa gobyerno yung tinatawag na COLA. Ang COLA is short for Cost of Living Allowance. Gamitin nila yung calculation na yun. Huwag silang gumagawa ng hypothetical dahil nami-mislead ang tao. This is...
Yeah. Yan ang prinsipyo din natin. Kailangan, wag hypothetical, kailangan actual na ebidensya. He lives, yan ang ginagawa ng presidente.
It's not useful to be making these hypothetical remarks because we do not live in a hypothetical world. We live in the real world.
What would you consider your winning moment?
My winning moment? When I'm proclaimed Vice President. This week started with Father's Day, and I was, of course, happily surprised by my boys and my wife with a little video greeting me, which was, I have to admit, kind of touching and poignant, and I love them all so much. Happy Father's Day! Happy Father's Day! In the meantime, during this week, there were several groups of supporters, Marcos loyalists, who came, especially from Catbalogan. These are the people who helped me with our medical mission and our relief work for the Catbalogan fire. And they came, and they had come here for some other purpose. And they came and gave me a Father's Day cake, which was also a very nice break in the midst of all the office work. I also had an interview together with my son Simon on Eagle Broadcasting, the Iglesia Network, and about, again, a Father's Day thing, a father-son sort of interview, which was medyo masaya.
Paano ba si Sir Bongbong as a father? Cool ba siya? Medyo strict, disciplinarian taan. Sir, wala sa akin yan, sir, ah! May warning.
Natutuwa ako, tinatawanan ko si Simon. Kasi siguro, siyempre ako sanay sa ganyan. Pero siyempre, that's his first time, second time pa na siyang kaharap. Kaya nakaka-proud naman si Simon at The rest of my week was spent on the radio. Amy, who is hosting a radio show on Mondays and Thursdays, lost her partner So, nung Monday, ako na nga ang sumama sa kanya mag-host at wala kung ano-ano pinag-usapan namin.
Sabi mo, yung pangulo mo kanina, yun, yung
Bakit?
10,000, sabi ng NEDA. Para sila limang katao na, ano bang planeta yung 10,000 para sila?
Hindi ka profesor sa isang eskwelahan na sinasabi, kunwari, 10,000 per ganun-ganun. Neda ka eh. Kailangan lahat ng kalkulasyon is based on true and actual accurate data. Madali naman kalkulahin yan eh. Meron sa gobyerno yung tinatawag na COLA. Ang COLA is short for cost of living allowance. Gamitin nila yung calculation na yun. Huwag silang gumagawa ng hypothetical dahil nami-mislead ang tao. This is not useful to be making these hypothetical remarks because we do not live in a hypothetical world. We live in the real world. Actually, first time ko ito kasama ni Gob Amy. First time ko na makapag-host ng radyo or yung mag-partner sa isang co-host or whatever you call it. Usually, ako yung interview. So yun, okay lang. Madali yun, interview. Pero ikaw yung co-host, ikaw nagdadala ng programa, parang naiba talaga yung experience. Live din tayo. Ngayon, pinapanood ng ating mga viewers all over the world sa pamamagitan ng Facebook page ni Gob Amy. I'm not convinced that I'm a good talk show host on the radio. Si Amy talagang may talent dyan. But, I did my best. And I hope that people found it interesting.
Ang gagandal namin, walang magawa. Parang niluhod sa ulan, nagkakalat sa karambola. Ano ba? Hiniikot niyo lang yun.
Pagkatapos nung pag-co-host ko naman kay Amy doon sa kanyang programa, hinila naman ako doon sa karambola. So, sama na naman kami dalawang magkapatid. Karapat dapat nga may isda dahil nakalagay naman yung balota sa picnic basket.
Tama naman. Picnic na tayo.
Sira na yung balot ba?
Wala.
Weatherproof naman eh. Weatherproof.
Bago pa ako makulong,
Magbe-break muna ka. Magbe-break muna ka.
magpapaalam na rin ako.
Maraming salamat sa magkapatid. Thank you. Magbabalik kami.
I also had a rather thorough, kompleto yung interview namin ni Erwin Tulfo nung isang araw. And marami kaming napag-usapan, hindi lamang yung aking protesta, kundi pati yung mga BBL, pati yung mga foreign policy sa China. 600 kilometers away. Pumunta ka sa Ilocos Norte, pag inon mo yung radyo, Chinese ang karamihan ng istasyon na nakukuha mo eh. Pero na tayo kalapit, and they are a superpower, both financially, militarily, in every way. Kapitbahay natin yan eh. Pagka kapitbahay mo, hindi mo naman pwedeng labanan ng labanan. Wala mangyayari sa'yo. Dahil kailangan we have to have good relations with all our neighbors and if possible with all our all the members of the international community. That was enjoyable for me because I was able to express what my...
Doon nagsimula yung kanyang friends to all, enemy to none. So he's a realist po before he became president. So his thinking then was broad. He was broad-minded then, solidified by his experience as a president now. Pero ang basic na concepts niya sa governance ay na-develop before he became president.
Feelings and thoughts were on these other matters.
Yung video walang sound talaga.
We ended the week with a celebration of the festival of Patia. I was invited by Justice Dimapuro to come and join them. It's a great honor, of course, to be invited, especially for one who is not Muslim, to be invited to those celebrations. And I thank them very much. And it is an important day in the Muslim calendar, and I was very happy and honored to be part of it.
Kita nyo si Vicky Rodriguez. Sayang.
I spent the rest of the week in Sultan Kudarat. Some people might know Sultan Kudarat has a very large Ilocano population. It was very, very interesting to walk around. Parang ang biro ko nga sa kanila, sabi ko parang hindi ako balis. Parang umuwi ako ng Ilocos Norte dahil ang naririnig ko puro Ilocano. Every time I come here, mas marami na tayo. We are beginning, makamahalata na tayo that we are trying to take over the province. May nagtanong sa akin, mahabang ang pasensya mo pagka matyaga ka dyan para magpa-picture, para magpipagkamay. Kako, iniisip ko kung ayaw na magpapamayan sa akin ito, kung ayaw na magpa-picture sa akin ito, delikado na ako at I'm in public life. So para sa akin, I'm a little flattered. Nakalap yung karangalan yun, gustong makipagkamayan sa iyo yung tao, gusto makipag-picture sa iyo yung tao. Napaka-sarap ang pakiramdam na ganyan ang trato ng tao sa iyo.
Make some noise, Nico! Marcos pa rin! Marcos pa rin! Marcos pa rin!
Nung nasa motorcade kami, syempre dumaan kami doon sa mga main street. Ang main street ng Tacloban, yung Real Street. Nung tinitignan ko yung mga building, I have to say na talagang ang tibay ng loob ng mga Leitenyo.
Thank you
Dahil
again, Mario.
Meron pa rin mga sira na hindi pa naayos. Pero yung mga tinayo na bago, na building, na mga bahay, mas maganda kaysa doon sa dati. They took it to heart, yung kasabihan na build back better. And Tacloban has built back better.
Tapos ka ba?
Sa kasalukuyan, nandito tayo. Nakikita ninyo sa likod ang Petronas Towers dahil nandito ako sa Kuala Lumpur. At nakikita ninyo, nakangiti ako dahil natapos na ang laban ni Manny Pacquiao at saka ni Matis at alam na natin ang naging resulta. Today, I think it's the beginning of my nostalgia week. Actually, that started a few weeks ago when we got the message from this fellow who used to work in the palace, in the so-called study room. I haven't seen him since, I don't think, since 86. And I was very, very surprised to get the message that Itzhakro is looking for you and he would like to see you. And he's celebrating his 90th birthday. So today, we decided to surprise him.
Magandang tanghali po, sir. Maraming salamat at sa pagtanggap niyo sa amin ngayon.
No matter what your political leanings were when GMA was president, whether you were for her, you were against her, you were a critic, you were a supporter, I think it can be, you can clearly see it is those structures and those institutions that she set up when she was president that allowed us to take full advantage of Asia's place as the emerging markets in view of the collapse of the financial markets and different economies in Europe and the United States. And if not for that, the Aquino presidency would not have been so lucky.
My name is Joaquin Arga, and I'm 10 years old, and I love math.
I met this young man by the name of Waki Gafud, who is a remarkable mathematical genius.
My number. 3.14159 take 53589. Correct. And then it goes on.
Most of my scholastic training was in maths and sciences. I immediately took a shine to this young man.
My name is Senator Bongbong Marcos, and you were born on September 30, 1957. You used to study in St. Edmund's Hall, Oxford University, and University of Pennsylvania. Your hometown is Ilocos Norte, while your father's name was Ferdinand Edralin Marcos, while your mother's name was Imelda Romualdez Marcos. In 1992 to 1995, you were the congressman of the 2nd District of Ilocos Norte. On 1998 to 2007, you were the governor of Ilocos Norte. On 2007 to 2010, you were the congressman of the 2nd District of Ilocos Norte again. In 2010 to 2016, you were the Senator of the Philippines. And in 2019, you're about to become the Vice President.
I like the prediction.
Mali yung prediction ng bata.
I just came back from Dipolog and then the Pitan a few days ago because once again there was a oath-taking of the Marcos loyalist movement. This is a spontaneous movement that really, it was not, I must admit, it was not organized by us, but was organized by some friends and supporters.
The most important thing is that we have to do something to make Filipino lives better, to make the Philippines safer, to make it more progressive, to make opportunities available to our people. Yan ang mga dapat natin pinag-aamalahan.
It started in Bohol, and then we went to Cebu, and now we did the Dapitan chapter. Very much, it's not a party that we are organizing, but it is a movement. Kaya Marcos Loyalist Movement. At ito yung pinag-usapan natin, ay good governance, ito yung pampaganda ng patakbo ng ating pamahalaan.
Na aking binabanggit kanina, dumadami ang kasama natin. Dahil mula nung sa Bohol, ngayon meron tayo sa Dapitan, marami rin mga iba't ibang lugar ang mga nagpapaalam sa amin na gustong sumama sa Marcos Loyalist Movement na at inyong kinababahagi na ngayon. Ang hangarin lamang natin ay gawin ang lahat na maaari natin gawin upang tumulong sa ating mga opisyal, upang tumulong sa ating mga kababayan, upang tumulong sa ating bansa.
I'm beginning to feel that this is a movement that will slowly grow as time goes on. It is also become important because we are approaching, napapalapit na tayo sa halalan, Nasa August na tayo, ang deadline para sa pag-file ng COC, Oktubre. Kaya't lahat ng tao ay siyempre naghahanapan na nagigirian na para makahanap ng magandang lugar kung sila man ay tatakbo, kung saan sila papanig, kanino sila kakampi. And you can see that this is all forming up now. With the major parties, of course the PDP is under reorganization. The Hukpo, which is a regional party of Mayor Sara, is also gaining ground. But this seems to be the phenomenon that the development in our politics today, where the local parties, especially in a midterm election, the local parties have become a much more important driving force than the national parties. We try to maintain at the local level our natural alliances, despite what our alliances might be at the national level. Yet, it's a very peculiarly Filipino solution to a very tricky problem. But I think it's going to develop in that way. Yesterday, the former Vice Premier of Malaysia, Anwar Ibrahim, came to visit the Philippines, and I was able to have some quick discussions with him while we are here.
Okay. Thank you very much. Pleasure.
People are wondering why it is that we have a connection with Anwar Ibrahim. The reason is very simple, is that when he was still being detained, his daughter would come here to the Philippines, if some of these functions, interparliamentary functions. She would always come to see me, and that was the beginning of the connection. And that connection was strengthened when I was the guest, actually, of Anwar Ibrahim and his daughter, who is now a member of parliament, Isa. When I went to the fight of Manny Pacquiao, we were his guests. And again, while I was in KL, I was able to speak to him. And he said that when he came to the Philippines, that we would have some very quick discussions. And it looks like he's starting to prepare for the handover of power from Dr. Mahathir, the present PM, to Anwar Ibrahim.
2020. But after I stepped down, it's left to Anwar. He will be the next Prime Minister after me.
The discussions, of course, centered around what do we do about the Sabah issue. His view on the matter was very simple, that both countries should move on and go to other issues. Of course, our position in the Philippines is that our claim on Sabah is maintained. We feel that it is a right-use claim. But I agree with his suggestion that the relationship between Malaysia and the Philippines should not be centered only around Sabah, but should be expanded to include other sectors. In the evening, we had dinner hosted by President Mayor Erap Estrada, who is an old-time friend of Anwar Ibrahim. And he was very supportive of him before he was detained and during.
Please, thank you very much. If I may say this from the bottom of my heart, with all sincerity, Bongbong Marcos, the legitimate Vice President of the Philippines.
It was not a formal political meeting, it was a sing-along.
Kiss me, my darling, be mine tonight. My love, where
Very casual, very informal dinner, which I think was a good break for everybody. Today is September 11th, my father's birthday. And traditionally, we go to Ilocos Norte to celebrate his birthday with him in the mausoleum in Batak. This time, since he is buried already in Libingan ng mga Bayani, my mother thought it would be more appropriate that we spend the birthday with him. Nagpamisa ang aking mother ng alas 10 kanina umaga at nagdatingan ng kanyang mga dating cabinet members, siyempre lahat ng pamilyang Marcos at yung ating mga kaibigan na mga tinatawag na loyalista, nandun silang lahat at nakakatuwa naman at sila hindi nakakalimot at napakatibay pa rin ng kanilang suporta sa aking ama.
My dear brothers and sisters, we celebrate this Holy Mass to honor the late President Ferdinand Edwin Marcos.
Pagpatuloy lang po natin ang pagiging witness natin sa mga ginawa ng ating Pangulong Presidente Marcos at ipagpatuloy lang din po natin ang paniniwala natin sa patunay ng mga apostoles ng ating Panginoong Hesukristo.
Pbbm sila.
Kita mo talaga na ang mga tao ay bukal sa loob yung kanilang pakikiisa sa pag-celebrate nito. Dahil na naramdaman nila ang kagandahan ng pamamahala ni Presidente Marcos noong siya ay nabubuhay pa at siya ang ating presidente.
Alam ninyo, kayong mga kabataan, hindi ninyo natatandaan ang nangyari sa kasaysayan ng ating bansa bago mag-martial law. Noon ay kasagsagan ng communist movement. Ngayon, kung hindi idineklara ni Presidente Marcos ang martial law dito sa ating bansa, noon, marahil ngayon ang naghahari sa atin ay si Jose Maria Sison. At tayo ay naging kagaya ng Cuba at kaya North Korea. Yan ang pinakamalaking legacy niya sapagkat pinigil niya ang pagiging komunista ng Pilipinas.
Kung siya'y nabuhay, this would have been his 101st birthday. Nagsalita nga ako, sinabi ko nakakapagtaka na kahit na after 101 years, matibay pa ang pag-aalala sa aking ama at sa kabutihan na ginawa niya sa ating bansa.
I was reminded that this would have been my father's 101st birthday. I thought to myself, how is it that after 101 birthdays, we continue to celebrate his memory? He is still remembered. You are all here. despite the brickbats, the criticism, the pure hate that has been heaped upon him over the last 30 plus years, his memory, his legacy continues to endure. I look back and try to think how it is that is. I believe that the reason that we continue to live his memory and his life within ourselves is because we continue to admire, to respect, and to believe his aspirations for greatness for our country.
Ay dahil naiba nga ang kanyang pag-iisip, dahil masyadong malalim ang kanyang pagmamahal sa bansa, ginawa niya lahat para maging maganda ang ating Pilipinas.
Inihalal at itinanghal ang Pangulo ng Pilipinas.
Kuya, dikit na ako sa'yo.
Maalala ninyo, yung libro niya, This Nation Can Be Great Again. Hindi lang pamagat yun, talagang paniniwala niya yun, that we can reach that greatness. He always believed in his heart of hearts that the Filipino had greatness within. That was what he based his life on. And that's what we continue to try to do, to honor his memory and to honor the Filipinos.
Ayan ha, Boyet, marami na dikit sa'yo ha.
Happy birthday!
Well, we've entered the month of September, and as me and my family always say, we regard this as our busy season because of the birthdays of my father, of my sister, myself. Also, there is the usual commotion caused by the date, the commemoration of September 21, or the declaration of martial law. But because of the birthdays, everywhere I've been going, lahat ng puntahan ko, sinasalubong ako ng birthday cake.
Hi, Beth.
Lumabas ang balita na si Asek Mocha Uson ay aalis na raw sa gobyerno. Siguro hindi naman tayo nagagulat kasi hindi naman siya naging comfortable dyan sa pagiging asset. Pinahirapan siya ng gusto ng mga kritiko din ng gobyerno. I hope that she finds a better place to continue with her advocacies. We always wish her all the best sa kung ano man ang gagawin niya sa susunod na panahon. We went to Cebu this week again for the induction of new members into the MLM, or the Marcos Loyalist Movement.
Alam po ninyo, hindi po bago sa akin ang mga batikos, kasama na ang mga maanghang at bastos na pananalita. Ngunit payagan po ninyo sana na sagutin ko ang isang tanong na pakutyang inihalathala sa internet ng isang vlogger mga ilang araw na nakalipas. Ano raw ang kinalaman ni Bongbong Marcos sa award na ibinabahagi sa gabing ito? Ang isa naman ay nagsabi na kesyo nakakagalit daw ang pagpunta ko rito. May galit ba sa inyo? Pagpasok ko rito, purong ngiti ang sumalubong sa akin.
Lalo ka-effort, di pa nangangampanya si Governor Amy, nandoon sa Magic 12. Ito, may partida pa, may bumabatikos, may bumabanat na mga makakaliwa.
Kasi ginagawang issue ang pagka-Marcos namin. Dahil anak kayo ni Marcos, kaya hindi kayo pwede. Hindi na siguro naniniwala ang taong bayan. Dahil nakita naman nila ang nangyari sa nakaraang 30 taon. Sa lahat ng pangako, lahat ng paninira, lahat ng kabastusan na tinapon sa amin. Sino bang nakagawa ng mga nagawa niya na susunod sa kanya? Yun ang mga nakukumpara na ng tao. Para sa amin, the best politics is performance. Undas na naman po at siguradong napakarami ang magsisiuwian at dadalaw sa mga libingan ng ating mga minamahal sa buhay. Minsan, ang mga pamilya ay naiiwan doon sa buong araw na at yung iba ay magdamagan pa. Kung kaya di talaga maiiwasan minsan na naghahanap na mapaglibangan ang iba sa ating mga kasama. Napakaraming bagay po ang masayang gawin kaysa magsugal o uminom sa sementeryo.
Hey guys, my dad is a little busy today. So I was given the task of taking over the vlog, and today is our family photo shoot.
It's nice that all 5 of us are together, and it's for my parents, it's probably their best opportunity because they say, Vince, tuck in your shirt, Vinny, comb your hair, I mean, it makes you feel loved.
My 2 brothers travel very often, and so do I. I feel like I get to see my parents a little bit more often than I get to see my brothers, and it's really nice to see them.
You're looking so grim.
At tanong ko kayo, anong pinag-usapan sa mga anak ni Pbbm? Sino pinakagwapo sa kanilang tatlo?
Maraming salamat sa inyo lahat at kayo nagsusubaybay sa aking mga vlog, sa aking mga post. Napakalaking bagay sa akin na marinig ang inyong mga comment. Kaya naman ngayon, subukan ko sagutin yung mga iba dyan. Kumusta na po kaya ang protest po ninyo? Aba, may sumulat na Lenny Ramirez Maglake, babalik po ba ulit ang Nutriban? Sabi nga, siya lang daw ang nag-iisang Marcos doon sa kanyang pamilya. Kaya mahal daw ng taong bayan ng mga Marcos dahil hindi sila nagtatanim ng sama ng loob. Mommies, daddies na nasa bahay lang, gusto kumita ng hindi iniiwan ang pamilya? Ito ang chance nyo. Muli, ako ay lubos na nagpapasalamat sa inyong lahat na walang sawang nagsusubaybay sa ating mga vlog. Pakiramdam ko tuloy, parang tunay na ako na vlogger. Kaya huwag natin kakalimutan, mag-like, mag-share, at mag-subscribe. Etong nakaraang ulit na November 8, Webes, ay pumunta ako sa Tacloban. I always make sure to find a way to go back for the commemoration, of course, of Yolanda. Gusto ko ring makita kung kumusta na ang rehabilitation at ang rebuilding. Dahil alam naman natin sa dami ng nasira at sa laki ng devastation na dinala ng Yolanda, ay magiging matagal pa ang pag-rehab niyan, hindi sa 1 taon, sa 2 taon. So 5 years on, I'm happy to report that yes, the rehabilitation is going on. Yung Build Back Better mukhang tinutuo ng ating mga ating mga opisyal para sa rebuilding, at dahan-dahan nakikita natin nagre-recover ang Tacloban.
Marami na tayo inabot. Mula nun hanggang pag nakita ko ngayon ang Tacloban, napakalaki na ang naging progreso. Kaya't mahalaga itong mga komemorasyon na ginagawa natin para sa Yolanda. Nakikita ko rin na dahan-dahang bumabalik ang ngiti. Dahan-dahang bumabalik ang biro. Dahan-dahang bumabalik ang pagmamahal at pagsasaya ng ating mga kababayan dito sa Tacloban, dito sa Region 8. At yan naman ang ugali ng mga waray. Patawa-tawa lang, pero matibay, matapang, at hindi nawawalan ng pag-asa.
Something that I really noticed this time that is different. Alam nyo, ang ugali ng mga waray-waray, mga palabiro lang yan, patawa lang yan, kahit nahihirapan, nakangiti, nagpapatawa, sarili, self-deprecating humor, that kind of thing. After Yolanda, parang nawala yung ugaling na yun, that people were sad, of course, kasi namatayan sila ng kanilang mga mahal sa buhay. They were sad kasi their livelihood was taken away, whatever they owned, what little property they had was devastated. Kaya nakikita mo talagang malalim ang kanilang kalungkutan. Ngunit itong taon na ito, on the 5th commemoration of Yolanda, I can say that I'm beginning to see that people are smiling again. That genuine smile that you always find from the waray-waray, that light, sardonic, self-deprecating humor that they always demonstrated, I can see is beginning to come back. And that, I think, is the most important part of recovery. So we will never forget those who have died in Yolanda. We will never forget the sacrifices. We will never forget the heroism that many people showed. But it is nice to see that our kababayans in Region 8, all our friends, our family, are not only beginning to recover in a physical sense, but they're also beginning to recover in a spiritual sense. And that's the happiest thing that I can say about our commemoration of Yolanda this year. Muli, ako ay lubos na nagpapasalamat sa inyong lahat na walang sawang nagsusubaybay sa ating mga vlog. Pakiramdam ko tuloy, parang tunay na ako na vlogger. Kaya huwag natin kakalimutan, mag-like, mag-share, at mag-subscribe.
Hi, Eva.
Nung nakaraang Webes, nag-celebrate yung mga iba't ibang bansa nung Thanksgiving. Yung Thanksgiving na yan, galing yan sa Amerika. Ang usual na ginagawa ng mga Amerikano, kapag sila ay nag-Thanksgiving, habang kumakain, titigil sila at sasabihin, saan ka nagpapasalamat dito sa taong nakaraang ito? So siguro gawin din natin yan. Biglang iniisip ko siguro 5 kung ano ba talaga ako nagpapasalamat. Muli, ako'y lubos na nagpapasalamat sa inyong lahat na walang sawang nagsusubaybay sa ating mga vlog. Pakiramdam ko tuloy, parang tunay na ako na vlogger. Kaya huwag nating kakalimutan, mag-like, mag-share, at mag-subscribe. I annually go on a regular basis to the AFAD show, which is a gun show for gun enthusiasts, shooting enthusiasts of the shooting sports, and of course, the police and the military. So I was invited this time to speak during the opening. Sabi ko nga sa kanila, yung mga krimen na nakikita natin, when there's a shooting crime involved, this is done by people who are not shooters.
Gumagawa nitong mga karasan na ito ay hindi shooter. Ang mga gumagawa nitong lahat, puro mga may illegal possession of firearms.
Because shooters are well trained and know that this is not to be used for crimes but for defense.
So what can we as shooters do? The only way, the best way is to make all of those illegal owners of firearms legal owners of firearms. Kung may kilala kayong nagdalang mga baril, sabihin mo, i-register nyo yan. Pumuntalin nyo sa range. Turuan
yung idea ganyan.
Dalhin nyo sa sport. Yung mga interesado, dalhin ninyo sa sport para nandito sila sa side ng legal.
Gawin natin sila lahat shooter. Turuan natin kung paano ang tamang paggamit ng baril.
As usual, it's always fun to be around the shooters because it is a sport that I have played a very large part in since its inception in the early 80s. And we continue to see it grow. It's another sport where we truly have world champions. It is also very enjoyable to see all of the new developments, all the new technology, and again, to catch up with old friends that I don't usually see. Congratulations and thank you to the AFAD organizers, and I'll be there next year. I attended for the first time an MMA fight upon the invitation of my friend Brandon Vera, who is our heavyweight champion. The fight of Brandon, which I was teasing him afterwards, sabi ko, I want my money back. Dahil tumagal lang 1 minute 8 seconds. Bagsak na yung kalaban, yung Italiano. Naalala sa atin ni Brandon habang nagsasalita siya after the fight na 5 ang world champion na Pilipino.
In the world of martial arts, the Philippines owns 5 world titles. Ito, kayang-kaya natin dito sa bansa natin. Supportan nyo ang martial artists nyo, supportan nyo mga club nyo. Kaya, kolektahan natin lahat ng mga belt.
Kaya't dapat kilalanin natin na sila ay nagdadala ng pangalan natin and they cover us in glory. Para sila si Manny Pacquiao na kinikilala ang Pilipino na magaling at mahusay at matapang. It was extremely enjoyable because the first fights that we saw, galing sa amin, galing sa Amyanan, galing sa Norte. Meron palang Team Lakay. Nakita namin yung laban ni Banario at saka ni Pulayan, which of course, napaus kami sa kasisigaw. Ito yung home team natin. Team Lakay is based in Baguio. Naramdaman ko na kagad na mukhang kakampi ito. Yung pala sila yung Team Lakay. Kaya paglabas ko, nakita ko lahat ng mga supporter ng Team Lakay, lahat tiga amin. At it was nice to get a taste of home habang sa pagpunta sa MMA fight. So congratulations to all my kababayans, especially to Brandon for that fantastic fight. And thank you for inviting me. I hope to be there for the next one. Muli, ako'y lubos na nagpapasalamat sa inyong lahat na walang sawang nagsusubaybay sa ating mga vlog. Pakiramdam ko tuloy, parang tunay na ako na vlogger. Kaya huwag nating kakalimutan, mag-like, mag-share, at mag-subscribe. I came back from Baguio just the other day because I attended the national conference of the Escape, which was sponsored by our friend Yusek Ronald Cardema of the National Youth Commission. It was kind of a nostalgic return for me to my usual stomping grounds of the youth movement in the Philippines. And I was very proud to remind our new SK leaders that it was I who was the principal author that created the Philippine Youth Commission, was how we wrote it, that became the National Youth Commission. And it was also I who was a principal author on the revised SK, the SK law, especially on the elections.
Welcome to Elected Public Service Filipino Style. Ano man ang inyong naranasan sa nakalipas na halalan, ano man ang inyong nakikita sa araw-araw na takbo ng ating politika, sana ay sa wika ni Shanti Do, huwag kayong matarang sa apoy ng maruming at hindi kaayang-ayang politika ng ating bansa.
As usual, it was always fun to be with young people. Lagi silang masaya, lagi silang magulo, lagi puro katatawanan. Nasamahan pa kami ni Gob Aimee. Siyempre, nagpatawa siya ng husto at akala ko napapanood ko si Vice Ganda pero natutuwa naman yung mga bata at marami kaming napag-usapan. It's clear that the Christmas season has begun because I was invited to the consular ball. And it's the first time that I have been able to attend, but I was invited by my friend Fern Peña, who is the honorary consul of Estonia to the Philippines. And nandun pala lahat ng mga honorary consul. Masaya naman at makita, outside of a diplomatic setting, ang ating mga kaibigan sa diplomatic corps. And mukhang ito yung kanilang party where they actually let their hair down and do not have to discuss state matters, but just a fellowship as we approach Christmas. It was great fun. Sometimes iniisip natin itong mga malalaking na ito, kakapagod, pero masaya sila. At magandang makapunta. At I'm very happy that I was invited. I thank you all for the invitation and a good evening and much fun was had by all. Yesterday, I was invited by Yusek John Santiago, the husband of the late Senator Miriam Santiago. And I was in Malacanang Palace because President Duterte conferred posthumously to Senator Miriam the highest award that can be given to a civilian Filipino for services to the Philippines. And it is the Quezon Service Cross.
Today we are gathered here as one grateful nation to honor an esteemed lawmaker, constitutionalist, and stateswoman, our beloved Senator Miriam Santiago.
She is only the 6th recipient and the only lady to receive the award. And I was actually very flattered by the invitation of Yusek Jun to be part of these celebrations. I was very happy to be there because I have great admiration, great respect, great memories, and have very fond and warm memories of Senator Miriam. They started, of course, telling, ang daming kwento kasi si Senator Miriam, meron pa siya mga quotation doon ng mga nakakatawa. May mga hugot line siya, may mga, yung kompleto, alam niyo, kilala niyo naman si Senator Miriam.
Kung wala naman kayong pambili ng flowers or chocolates sa Valentine's Day, bigyan ninyo ng kiss. Kung ayaw, sabihin nyo, di balik mo.
behind all of that was the usual signs of that blinding intellect that she had in her. All of this tempered by a humor that made it more palatable and more accessible to people. These very important and profound intellectual lessons that she was trying to impart to us. I miss her terribly, and I was very, very happy to be there to even posthumously honor her and once again recognize her contributions to our country.
So, yun ang last video natin sa part 2. Bukas ulit may part 3. So nga pala, we'll take this occasion sa pagbati sa pagbabalik ng ating presidente ng channel ng Bangus Channel. Si President Carclea ay nandito na. Hello, President. Reporting 4,021 na ang ating subscribers. Karamihan yan ay galing sa iyo. So, sa mga bagong pasok, dito po ang Bangus Channel, tinatawag ng ating Bangus Channel, ay solely dedicated kay PBBM. It's only dedicated to PBBM. So we are trying to study yung history ni BBBM sa vlogging niya. Doon mo makikita ang the evolution of his policies. Nakikita mo. Kung hindi mo makikita yan, hindi mo ma-appreciate ang hirap niya. Kaya nga, nagtatampo ko sa aking mga co-vloggers sabi niya sila PBBM, pero pilit na binubuwag ang pinundar ni BBBM, which is unity. Kaya nga, I would like to remind them na naghirap po si BBM para maipundar ang unity. Huwag natin buwagin. Sundin po natin ang kanyang payo. Huwag tayong, let us not be the cause of disunity. Well, again, welcome back our President, Carclea. We owe a lot to her. I hope enjoy your time dito sa pagbabalik mo. Thank you very much. Now, let's say our goodbyes. Tomorrow again, same time, 7:30, will be the part 3 until matapos natin lahat ng videos ni Bongbong Marcos. So let's greet everybody. Let's greet our president. Welcome back. Welcome back. No. So na po ulan na, tapos na po. My next LS would be, as usual, about 7 o'clock or 6:30 sa California time. Ang morning show is solely dedicated sa mga vlogs ni PBBM. Oo. Pero united yung mga supporters namin eh. Walang tunay na unity. Tama ka dyan. Kaya nga, tama ka dyan na walang tunay na unity. Kasi may mga kakontra. Pero sa mga supporters ni BBB, may unity dapat. Yan ang sinasabi nila. Hindi kami nagkakamali. United kami. Yung mga kakontra, bahala sila. But those who supported Bongbong Marcos to attain the presidency, yun ang sinasabi, we should stay united. Otherwise, magiging problematic ang governance niya sa ating gobyerno. You're right, walang tunay na unity. But yung mga may tunay na unity, in the sense that we are supporting Bongbong Marcos. Ang sabi niya, ayaw nyo talaga, gusto nyo diskusyon, okay. When you're talking of the population in itself, you can never attain unity. There will always be dissenters. But one faction can be totally united. Yan ang sinasabi ko sa iyo, Ruel. Kami mga supporters should be united. Yun ang pinaghirapan ni BBM. Okay. So, sabi ni Ken, I should create a hierarchy of world biannuity to mean different things to actually make the word biennium relevant and strong. Oh, you've got a nice idea, Ken. Sabi ni Ryan, DK family, Sir Ruel, TTS. May galap siya to. Si Ruel. Binabati si Ryan. Si Boyert Dem is greeting everybody. Si Little One, ginabati si TTS and Ruel. Unity, dapat sana. May unity kami kaya nung naging presidente si Bongbong Marcos, may united kami. Pero nabubuwag na yun dahil sa pagbaligtad ng iba. Pagpilit na binubuwag niya, tulad nila Maharlika. Hindi kami united. Kaya nga, nagtatampo ako, yung united front namin para na-elect si President Marcos. Binubuwag ng ibang mga vloggers dyan. May mga vloggers na dahil sa galit sila kay President Duterte, pilit nilang binubuwag ang unity team ni Sara at saka si Bongbong Marcos. Kaya nga, ang purpose po natin sa channel na ito ay wag po natin buwagin yung team na pinaghirapan ni Bongbong Marcos na itatag yung coalition. May mga aywan ko ba ang nasa isipan nila. Kita mong hirap na. Ang hirap. Kung babalikan mo ang vlogs niya, ang hirap ng binuo yun. Yun dapat kaso nasaan nga, okay. A lot of love. Tatay, I never stopped attending your vlogs. But thanks. Okay. Of course. So long for now, folks. See you tonight at Tatay's CLS. Okay. Mag-iay na tayo. Okay. Bye, Kaklaya. Okay. Tapos na po.